Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back. What I want to do for this recording, guys, is just show you guys how to do a top-down analysis of any pair that you're looking at, and just giving you an idea of possibly how I do mine. And usually for me, I like to look at the really high time frames, usually the weekly or the monthly. In this scenario, we are looking at USDJPY. So if I go on, let's say the monthly, let's just look at the monthly, we can see what's happening. Okay, so UJ has definitely been on a bearish trend, but right about now, there was a rally-based rally and we are pushing to the upside. It's very, very clear what's happening. These highs here were mitigated and these probably are just going to continue pushing up. But now I want to look at it from a hindsight kind of perspective. I know sometimes people look and say, okay, hindsight is very easy to to use to determine where a price is going. But I'm going to just push time back a bit. Let's say to the beginning of this, let's say let's say we are in, let's say look at September, right? So then I'll go on the weekly time frame. And so on the weekly, what I'm seeing is gold dropped, okay? It dropped here and then and had just been pushing lower, and then somewhere here or in March, okay, sorry, not gold, sorry, my bad, USDJPY. You guys know I love gold, so it's always at the back of my mind. Now UJ in March of this year broke structure at this level and began to push up. Now this, for me, just bearing in mind that it broke previous levels of structure, there was a break of structure here, okay, there was a break of structure here, and then price pushed down and then broke structure again and continued on its way up. So what is happening is like it's just taking out previous levels of structure above here and is looking bullish, okay? So it's like, lower highs, lower highs, higher lows, and higher highs, higher highs. Yes, we kind of tapered out, which is understandable because when we push it up, price doesn't just necessarily push up continuously, it always goes back. So knowing that we have broken specific areas of structure here, and then we've come, retested this zone, taken out liquidity, and if we look at it because now we're on the weekly, if I dial it down to the daily, let's go back to the weekly, I'll probably also be able to see there's an interesting level here, okay? So you can see we broke a level of structure here, pushed lower, and then continued on to the upside. So, and as we're going up again, when we came down here, we kept on breaking lower levels of structure here, okay, and then grabbed liquidity and continued on our way up. So that's why I'm like, we're still going to be pushing to the upside, okay? So now that I know that, okay, I can dial it down to a lower time frame, okay? And I'm already thinking, okay, I'm bullish, okay? So we see price rally down, took out this lows here, pushed up, and then retested previous structure, and now it's continuing on its way up. So the question is, from this point in time, are we going to shoot down or lower or shoot up? Personally, based on what's happening right now, we're just going to continue to push up because we have interesting levels. We look at it up here, okay, that need to be retested. So I'll probably just mark that out, so there's a lot of liquidity up here. There are, levels up here, okay? Levels up here and more levels up here. So I just feel like price wants to push up towards these levels, okay, this point of interest, okay? So we can see that when this price pushed up here, okay, it took out this high, and then it came down and it kind of didn't quite mitigate this high. So I feel like there's a pending, there's mitigation that needs to be done up here for price to then maybe continue to, retest and so on and so forth. So I'll then probably look at maybe because the 8 hours, see if there's anything. So yeah, so at least my point of interest would be up here. And I would assume that the price would actually get to this level here, and then before we see a tapering. So my assumption is price would want to get up here before we see, let me use this. Yeah, probably see price push up. Okay. Okay, what's going on? Price push up. Okay, that's not working. So let's just use the normal. I would expect price to push up and then possibly push down before it continues up. But my bias in this range, because what I'm telling myself is price pushed down, broke structure, failed to continue to the downside, and then pushed back into this range in here. Okay. And all this while it's forming higher highs, higher highs. And that's why, guys, I'm only looking for buying opportunities. So if I go on a lower time frame, maybe I go the 1 hour, okay? On the 1 hour, we are seeing same thing is happening, lower high, low, higher low, okay? Yes, we kind of take it here, but I still anticipate that to continue. So if you look at it, guys, from the 1 hour, I'll probably go to the 5 minutes. And what I'm basically seeing here is we definitely rallied up, okay? We kind of fixed out a lot of traders at this zone. So, and again, this is hindsight. So it's very easy to tell the story in hindsight. Okay, I don't argue with that, but the principle is the same. Price pushed here, broke through, pushed back up, and fails to break this high and then pushed lower. So because of the failure to break that high, it may have confused guys to think that price is actually going to drop, okay? But remember, because on the higher time frame, we are bullish, we would not be looking for sells per se. Yes, you take a sell on a counter trend, on a quick counter trend scalp opportunity, but definitely you still be looking for buy entries. So right now, what do? Now we're on the 5 minutes, okay? And our price is moving. So we are seeing we dropped here. So let me just put a pause and maybe increase this price a bit. So first of all, we can see quite clearly that there was a bit of a break of structure here, and we pushed lower, okay? And we just took out this previous low when we broke structure and then pushed back, and then we have just been forming higher lows, and this is where now we kind of broke structure. So the only time I'm going to be looking at price pushing lower is if we kind of break the structure at this level. Okay, so right now I wouldn't be thinking of sell. I would just be like, no, I'm still waiting. Although we can see a very clear bearish candle happening here. This would actually not be a bad zone to take a trade off of, right? But because we are in this zone, I just be like, okay, let me just wait a bit. But there is an opportunity to take sells down here, but I'll just be looking and waiting. So let's see what happens. Because we're looking at, I'm looking for buys, right? So I'm looking for opportunities to keep buying. And what I'm seeing happening at this point in time is price came here and left an interesting level here that I will be looking to revisit at some point. Okay. And we see it hasn't quite retested this zone. So the only time I'll be looking for a sell, guys, is if I see price kind of coming back to this level, and then that's when I'll be looking at continuation to the downside. So this for sure, this section here, what we are seeing is this high just took out this high here, and now price is continuing to push lower, right? But so we can take sell opportunities, but remember, long term, what are the best entry for me at this particular point in time is I want to look for buying opportunities, okay? So we are seeing price pushing lower. I would, if it pushes to this zone, I would possibly take a selling opportunity. So I could just put a long-term position somewhere here, put my stop loss just maybe above the previous high here maybe, and then just keep my, and we're looking at a 5R, so 5R meaning looking at risk to reward, we can see 5.16. So right now, you don't want to be caught up in all of this, right? Because nothing is happening. Price is just consolidating, yeah? And what has happened, it has pushed up and totally so let's take a break, right? Totally annihilated my assumption here. And that's why I was saying, remember on the higher time frame, we were looking for buys. So on a lower time frame, if you look for an opposite trade, that's a risky trade, right? And that has been confirmed right now because it's literally just, there was really no volume here, so ignored this point of interest and just broke through to the upside. Thankfully, we had stop loss of 1.9 pips, so you just lost 1 pip. Now, if you saw a move like this and you are counter trending and you know that the trend is up and you know that we've already mitigated previous levels here and previous levels here, there was a break of structure here. We pushed lower, mitigated that, and then we pushed up, mitigated this high here. We tested, and we're beginning to see this, and we're seeing higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. You want to be looking for the buy. Okay, so let's say right now we're late on this entry for the buy. It's already gone. So how do you consider taking this trade? Probably want to go on an even lower time frame, or we can't go to a lower time frame. So I'll go back to the 5 minute. I hope it doesn't spoil my. It does. Oh boy. So let me see. Kind of messed. Okay, so here we are. It's kind of messed my analysis, which I think we were, okay, I can't remember, guys. But basically, what I was trying to say, where were we? This I think was, I can't remember, guys. Anyway, anywho, that's the thing. Now, when you try to go back to too low time frames, you miss out on quite a bit. Anyway, so technically, you can see that we have been bullish. So my point is this, let me just, we are now on, let me go back to the 5 minutes. And let's say you were trying to establish, like even if we look at it, let's say, so we can see prices pushing up, right? Now you need to be able to tell the story. Okay, so let me try and help and redo this in a different perspective without necessarily going too far. So you're seeing prices moving up. We know that UJ is bullish, right? So yes, price is tapering, but then we're beginning to see it continuing to push up, right? So what you're telling yourself is price is pushing up, and as it pushes up and pushes down, it's just literally just mitigating levels. So we have this level here, price pushed up, okay, and then we have this level of structure. It pushed up and then pushed to this zone here, and then began to push up, and then we see that price broke through and then pushed back up again. okay? And what it did, it was just coming to mitigate these highs up here. And this is a nice clean trade that enabled it to drop. Now, yes, this is a nice drop. You can see it broke structure below here, then came back and retested this same level, and then dropped again. And as it's dropping, it's forming other levels of structure that are being retested. Okay? And every time those levels of structure are being retested, you can see some rejection. But now you also want to be careful about continuing sells, because if you look to this other level, you can see that this is a key zone. So we can see we approached a key zone here, and then price broke through, didn't quite drop, okay, broke up here, and then it just kind of, another level here, and it didn't quite make it to this level. And we see that from here, price then began to form higher highs. Now, when you see this, you don't want to keep assuming that price is going to continue to drop, because it has failed to break this zone, and it has literally mitigated the previous break of structure. So there's a break of structure here, and there's another break of structure here, and this was mitigated, okay? And then finally, we started pushing up. And once this was mitigated, we can see higher highs. So you don't want to start thinking of lower lows. You don't want to start thinking that price is going to start dropping. This has not yet been mitigated. We know we are on a rally on the higher time frames, daily, weekly, 8 hour. And that's really strong. If you even look on the 4 hour, I'm sure we're still rallying. So on the lower time frames, even if you're seeing retracements, they're just retracements, right? So now, where do you consider your entry? So let's say I go here, somewhere here. So let's just, for argument's sake. So we are seeing this candle here. Let me just play it out. Okay, so we are seeing that rejection, which is expected. Okay, and this high is higher than this high. This low here is higher, and then we begin to see some volume candles forming with a bullish move to the upside. Now, first of all, we know that there's liquidity up here and up here. So chances are, now that we are done mitigating the lows, we want to go and mitigate the highs. That's basically what's happening. Okay, that's the story you're telling yourself. So price continues to push up, push up, push up. And okay, you could decide to wait for a retest and then continue to push price on to the upside, and you can literally take your target up here, okay? Because we know we are on, and this is like a what? This is like a 6R, okay? You're trying to score 6R. So we are expecting the price to push up, retest, and continue on to the upside, okay? Or alternatively, it will break structure up here, retest that structure, and continue to push on to the upside. Like you can see, guys, we're just forming equal highs, and higher lows, and we can see price retested, okay? And what has it done again? It has again retested the same structure. And remember I said, so if you missed this first entry, you could have gotten the second entry. So all we are seeing is break of structure here, retest of that structure, and continuation onto the upside. When it comes to this level, it will probably come there, retest that structure, and continue onward, okay? And what we are seeing is higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. And then we begin to see this big move up. And we can see that there's a bit of an influence possibly from institutions. And as you can see, another break of structure here has happened. And then retest of that structure as we continue on up. Remember, we are buying on the higher time frame. So whatever we saw here is mitigation happening to prepare for continuation to the upside. So guys, I hope this video has helped you guys understand kind of how I look at the charts from a higher time frame to a lower time frame, and what you should be looking out for. And also, and the entire time, you always need to understand the directional bias on the higher time frame, and then go down to drill down to the lower time frames and begin to look at your potential entries. Even if you're on a retracement, understand what's happening, whether it's a buy or a sell on the higher time frame and you're a retracement on the lower time frame in the opposite direction. You need to understand what is happening. So always be able to tell that story, okay? So what happened here, we formed highs, taken out these highs, and then formed another break of structure here. Remember, we're still buying, mitigated that break of structure, and then now we are going to completely take out this highs. Remember, our target is still up here, our 6R, about 40 pips from entry. Our stop loss was at 60, okay? So this is a pretty clean trade, and we definitely will be scaling that high. As you can see, it indicates that this is the previous high. So my expectation is we probably will want to take out that previous high. Now, what has happened here, we're forming some equal highs. So we may see some potential sellers coming into play to kind of confuse us that we are now selling. You know, retail traders, we like to look at, you know, double tops and things like that and begin to assume we are selling, but we may not necessarily be selling. What you want to see is, ask yourself, is what is really happening, okay? So price is just coming to mitigate and mitigate and mitigate, and before it continues on to the upside, okay? So we've rallied to the top. We left some liquidity down here pending, but all we are doing here is, this was probably just a fake out to fake people out to the downside. Sorry. Okay. And people got caught out here thinking that price is actually going to go down, but no, okay, it's not yet ready to go down because we still have unmitigated highs up here, and we are still rallying to the upside, okay? So guys, if you want an in-depth breakdown, step-by-step of how I look at the chart, please just join my classes and learn. And yes, you can also jump on our Discord group. We have a lot of members there who give value to the community, and you can be part of that. So thank you guys. And as you can see, we are still moving to the upside. Thank you guys and have a lovely evening. Oh yes, if you like this, if this is of value, please like, subscribe, share, and see you soon.